Hey everybody, it's your humble author, narrator, and fictional character, Daniel Lewis Crumpton from downloadedcontent.com. And if you're subscribed, you know that we've been broadcasting some very disturbing intercepted transmissions that we've been receiving over here from an Agent 663 to his superior in some shadowy energy harvesting cabal named Stan. These are very disturbing messages, but our security team has ensured that these are in fact messages. And so we wanted to get into the most recent intercepted transmission. Now, a little disclaimer, some of you may find the scripture of this transmission a little offensive, and I'm not going to lie, I was even offended when I read it myself. But we need to put our feelings to the side. If there is a shadowy cabal that is pulling the strings to harvest our energy, we need to put our feelings to the side and just look at the data. So let's get to this intercepted transmission and see what we can pull out of it for our edification. And again, you can find the full text over at downloadedcontent.com. Please subscribe to our newsletter to get more whole shittery like this. Anyway, the transmission goes like this. To Stan from Agent 663 regarding Juneteenth countermeasure deployment. This was transmitted 6/23/25. Stan, hope this transmission finds you well, sir, as we draw closer to administratively dissolving the Homo sapiens market of our energy harvesting industry. The last quarter of the Kali Yuga has yielded an immense surge in loose profits for us and our interdimensional shareholders. But alas, all good things must come to an end. Thus, prior to closing up shop for a while on Earth, with its impending reboot and memory wipe of the target species' collective consciousness, business is still business. This being a business transmission, I wanted to keep you abreast of the situation over at the Caucasian corporate conglomeration, our competitors in the energy harvesting market. Though I don't have to explain this to you, for historical perspicacity, I've always found the Caucasian corporate conglomeration's methods of energy extraction to be lacking in ethics. Sure, all of us secret overlords behind the scenes practicing vampiric sorcery over the masses might have little room to talk about matters of ethics, but observing from without and by resources from within their truly evil corporation, the amount of damage they have caused with the indigenously melanated among mankind is a horror to behold. For, as you well know, sir, yours truly has always been fascinated by the sheer physics of melanin and the power it provides for those who wield it, and the potentiality for true freedom and liberty for those who would wield it well. And to see this power under invisible whips and chains to this very day by the Caucasian corporate conglomeration's machinations and legalese is enough to frustrate any traveler of both time and space. As Winston once rolled through his mind over and over, if there were to be any hope, 'twas in the proles. In my time on Earth, sir, I have often echoed that line. Only my inner monologue spoke, if there is to be any hope, there is hope in the melanated. For all my research, the data sets show that when they hold a vision clearly and charge it with the electricity they absorb from the sun, the vision is sure to be made manifest. This power alone is incredible with individuals, but in the sense of a melanated collective, this would become an unstoppable force. Facts that make the Caucasian corporate conglomeration both salivate with greed and tremble with fear if they were to ever let such power get out from underneath their invisible corporate boot. Which is something my inside guy within their ranks has told me they have absolutely no intention of ever letting happen. Take the recent deployment of their Juneteenth countermeasures blasted out over the recent rising frustrations from the Corporation of the United States as a distraction and psychological judo move. One would think by now that the species in general, but melanated people specifically, would consider any holiday approved by the Corporation of the United States to be highly suspect on its face. But no, sir. Sadly, you can make any oppressed demographic wanting equality to sit down and shut the fuck up for a while if you give them a day off from their corporate cubicle and tell them it's for their freedom. Why late-stage Homo sapiens can't see their governments handing them holidays like a pedophile with a Tootsie Roll pop extended is beyond me, sir, especially post 9/11. And on Juneteenth, they did it again. Similar to how the Caucasian corporate conglomeration hypnotized many Irish to celebrate their own cultural genocide with so-called St. Patrick's Day, they have packaged a fairy story of liberation for the melanated man and woman in 2025 to rewrite history as if slavery actually ended. when clearly anyone with eyes to see and ears to hear will testify to you that this fairy story is nothing more than carefully crafted fiction. The 13th and 14th Amendment to their Constitution did not, in fact, put an end to slavery. It just activated slavery's cloaking device while expanding the perimeter of the plantation and proposing an invitation for any and all to volunteer into the citizen slave ship. And after that imaginary emancipation, boy, did they ever sign up to work again through birth certificates, licenses, and corporate contracts galore. With each benefit or privilege assumed, a right or liberty was converted right back to the Caucasian corporate conglomeration that was merely upgrading from physical whips and chains to financial, contractual, or spiritual ones instead. Those devious crackers, sir. It would be negligent not to brief you on the nefariousness of the conglomeration's legal alchemy, the twin hexes known as the 13th and 14th Amendments. Publicly, they were branded as emancipation and equal protection. Privately, they were linguistic landmines. The 13th outlawed involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for a crime, a footnote that became the foundation of modern slavery 2.0. Enter the 14th, a clever upgrade that reclassified the once sovereign into federal property via the conferred status of citizen, thereby converting unalienable rights into state-issued privileges, revocable at a whim. Once that transformation was complete, all that remained was to criminalize existence itself. Victimless offenses paired with a litany of code, ordinance, and statutory violations were placed like razor wire to ensnare the slightest step off the new plantation. One misstep, and the melanated would be processed, cataloged, and re-enslaved. And all of this post June 19th, 1865. And so, Juneteenth becomes not a commemoration of emancipation, but rather the annual renewing of the illusion, the ritualistic recitation of a spell, that freedom was achieved, that chains were cast off, that a great evil was made right, when in fact, the operating system merely changed its GUI. Flags, barbecues, music festivals, performative corporate solidarity, all the better to anesthetize a people whose energy output continues to be harvested via culture, court, and contract. The holiday isn't a celebration, sir. It's a timestamp, a reboot marker, a psychic defibrillator meant to stabilize the system's hold over the melanated masses, just long enough to push forward the next phase of digitized captivity. Digital identity, CBDC, social credit, algorithmic plantation management, a smart slavery grid in which the overseer is now an app, the lash is biometric surveillance, and the escape as mythological as ever. This isn't the first time they've run this play. Margaret Sanger, high priestess of Planned Parenthood and disciple of eugenics, didn't plant her clinics in melanated neighborhoods for convenience. She planted ideology. She courted black pastors, cloaked genocide in the language of reproductive health, and let trusted community leaders deliver the poison with a smile, and the slaughter sells itself. Fast forward, and the script hasn't changed, only the cast. Today, the Democratic Party and leftist loyalists playing the role of savior, selling digital chains under the banner of liberation. They praise democracy as the pinnacle of emancipation, while it functions as nothing more than mob rule, a stepping stone to total tyranny. Through this machine, smart cities are rolled out like gifts. Real ID scans are normalized as safety measures. Central bank digital currencies are paraded as financial inclusion, all carefully marketed by smiling Democrats on television, in town halls, and across social media feeds. But just like before, it's bondage in the language of freedom. The goal is unchanged. Manufacture consent. Convince the community to enter the digital plantation on their own and to thank their political masters for the keyless collar they never saw being fastened. You got to hand it to the Caucasian corporate conglomeration, as despicable as they are. Their sleight of hand is state of the art, which has allowed them to corner the melanated energy harvesting market for quite some time. And it appears that with the impending Armageddon we have scheduled, the Caucasian corporate conglomeration wanted to rake in every bit of profit by squeezing their target with one last Juneteenth. Because they're free, despite the fact that all of their children are now about to probably be conscripted for the meat grinder that is World War III in order to fight Israel's wars, or plunged into internment camps to be exploited for their labor. Oh, wait, that's already been going on with the prison industrial complex, but nevertheless, you see my point, sir. As usual, sir, my assessment of the Homo sapiens is unchanged. They remain oblivious to the larger picture going on around them all, and just behind the scenes where we sit and siphon the very essence of what they are or could ever be. It's so easy. You almost feel sorry for them. Nevertheless, we have every anticipation down here that these poor, pitiful souls that we count as food will continue our profits in the coming 4th of July celebration, which at this point should be hilariously ironic in that freedom will be the cause, but slavery is still the method. Agent 663 out, in transmission. All right, so there you have it. Transmission from some shadowy energy harvesting cabal going back and forth. We'll give you more details as they become available as we research these intercepted transmissions. But for now, let's just run with it. So hope that you were edified and educated by this material. And if we don't see you until then, enjoy your 4th of July in your Orwellian technocratic dystopia that you've created in America. It's an absolute nightmare. So when you go to your barbecues and your fireworks shows and you have federalized police in tanks and snipers pointed at you, and everywhere you go is track traced and database, you can't do a fucking thing without permission slips from a corporation, tell yourself that you're free, you dipshits. Your civilization is fucking doomed if you go to celebrate your freedoms and liberties this 4th of July and feed the god of corporate America with your energy and your fucking ignorance. You are not free. You live in a totalitarian police state at this point. Your planet's going to get deuced. I'm out.
In an age of orchestrated deceit, where every screen screams contradiction and truth is buried beneath propaganda, clarity is rebellion. That's why this message is brought to you by CannaSense Total Wellness. Because in times like these, the only real defense is a clear mind, a grounded soul, and optimal mental health. Plant medicine isn't just an option, it's a necessity. Joining is free. Just go to CannaSense.com, fill out a sponsorship form, upload a photo ID showing you're 21 or older, and use downloadedcontent.com as your sponsor. First orders get 25% off. Veterans and cancer survivors receive additional discounts. Stay aware, stay well with CannaSense Total Wellness. Sanity in an insane world starts here.